Guten Tag, one and all. I come to you today with some online battles versus one of my Discord members, a man who made it to the final of my first ever tournament. It's Dingo. A man who built up everyone's hopes and dreams in the tournament. He had a little fan club, and then he let them all down in the final. What a bastard. But we've got Norska versus Chaos is the first fight. I'm playing as Norska. I've got a front line of Chaos Marauders with great weapons for all my armor-piercing needs, as the Chaos tend to have a fair bit of armor. On the flank, I've got Skinwolves, armoured ones of course. 3 units of Hunters with Javelins for my anti-large needs. Any Dragon Ogres, Chaos Spawn will be dealt with by those. I've got 1 unit of Spears for the same purpose. Only the one though, they're not the best spears in the world, but they'll have to do. On the other flank, 2 units of Ice Trolls. They're icy and they're trolls. That's all you need to know. So I've got plenty of armor piercing and plenty of anti-large to deal with what the Chaos may have. I've got a Marauder Champion on a Chariot as well. A Bale Fiend of Shadows for my spells, and a Werekin to try and slap around any large units. So that is my force. Just a bit of a thrown together thing, not a real proper build. These were just friendly games, so we're just trying stuff out. Dingo's build, it's got a solid front line of Chaos Warriors. No armor piercing. He is well aware, I'm sure, that you don't really need the armor piercing against Norska, because they don't wear any damn clothes. So I assumed he was trying to grind it out. He was going to try and grind me out with that superior holding infantry. Got a couple of units of Forsaken, could be useful for flanking. Got Chaos Spawn, just great melee killing power. Kolek is his lord, and the old bastard Summoners of Rage, gonna be dangerous anti-large. And then some Halberds as well, for a little bit of extra anti-large. Out wide on the flank, Chaos Knights with Lances. So those are our armies. We do approach each other, and I'm kind of playing cautiously at this point. I'm not going to charge straight into him. I'm going to hang back a little bit, wait and see what he gets up to. And Norska are a faction I've really been struggling with. I want to love them. I generally loved Norska in Warhammer 1, but in Warhammer 2, they just seem crap. They just don't have the leadership to maintain any kind of fight in any area. So it's very difficult with Norska against most factions, I'm finding. I think they need a leadership buff and some reduction in the cost of their units. I'm bringing my spears out front here, in front of my Marauders, because I see these Chaos Spawn kind of lined up in the middle, and I don't want them charging into my sort of precious great weapons, because I need them to kill the infantry. So I'm going to try and keep a check on those Chaos Spawn. Don't want them to just charge up and start slapping things in the face. He's moved his Summoners of Rage to one side, probably trying to mirror my Trolls. So I'm still trying to keep on those Chaos Spawn, trying to keep following them. His front line does approach. I'm still not in any desperate hurry to get things going here. Going to move my Skinwolves around the side. I'm going to start throwing off some Javelins. Going to engage the front lines now. I'm pulling my Spearmen back because I don't want them fighting the Chaos Warriors, because they'll just get kicked the crap out of. So I need to see where the Chaos Spawn go before I commit them anywhere. My Trolls here are getting charged by the Summoners of Rage. I'm going to try and pull them back as quickly as I can, but that rock being in the way makes them run not really how I wanted them to. So send in some anti-large over there. Front lines are engaged now. Trying to get some Javelins on the Chaos Spawn. Going to drop the Penumbral Pendulum on these 2 units of Chaos Warriors, but it's a little bit too late, as one of my boys has already broken. My Skinwolf's not doing much on the side here. Poor micro on my part. Should have had them coming in a bit sooner. I'm also raining in some Javelins on Kolek, trying to wear him down a bit, and those Chaos Spawn. Brought some of my Trolls back to help out the infantry, and I'm getting my Spears on the Summoners of Rage. So trying to get as many good matchups as I can at this point. One of my Trolls has been beating the crap out of though. They've still got a few units left, but just lost a little bit of life. His infantry is starting to overrun me though. I'm breaking here, broken here. I'm nearly breaking here. So he's won the infantry fight, and now I'm in a bit of a struggle. Got my Skinwolves chasing the Forsaken there, who are trying to flank. The other one's going to try and get some Hammer and Anvil sort of, but not a lot left to do that too. Trying to get some Javelins and some Skinwolves onto old Kolek, and my Werekin rather. But his cavalry is coming around the back and are absolutely causing me problems. He brought the cavalry around here, around the back of this rock. I didn't even see them, to be honest. I didn't even clock them, so again, poor awareness on my part. Trying to charge my general around, keep him in the game. Trying to wear as much of this infantry down. Trying to separate it a little bit as well. My spears are still on those Summoners of Rage. Getting a few good matchups, but I'm just a little bit outnumbered at this point because all of my infantry has run away, because their leadership is just too shite. Some of them have come back. Going to get them back to the fight right now. Do what they can, but it is a struggle at this point. My Chariot helping to use some of that terror to rout things. My Trolls smashing Chaos Spawn, but in come the Summoners of Rage. I'm going to try and counter that because he's got his anti-large on my large now. So now I'm going to bring my anti-large on his large And we're going to even the playing fields a little bit, bringing in those skin wolves. So I've got to try and get those Summoners of Rage dead, because they are a very powerful unit. Trying to get Kolek dead at this point as well with my Werkin, but he's a tough bastard to bring down. Got my Marauders back in there, into the Forsaken. Still a tough fight for them. They've got the armor piercing, but that's about it. Got some units I need to bring back to the fight there. But for the most part, I'm getting a bit overrun. And the Skin Wolves have had enough, so looks like the Chaos are overrunning me at this point. I just don't have the leadership to stay in. And it's kind of a weird one when you think about it, that Norska have such low leadership. Most of their army runs around shirtless. These men clearly have no fear. So it's a bit strange that they run away so easily from a fight. You'd think they would mostly fight to the death. But maybe that would make them too overpowered, I don't know. It's the same with Beastmen as well. A very aggressive faction, but they're all really scared of everything. Even though they don't wear armor, most of them. Doesn't really make sense. But I suppose the game would be a bit ridiculous if you had angry, fully armored goats. Imagine the Beastmen with the dwarves' armor. That does sound quite terrifying and ridiculous. My Werkin, though, he's actually held on quite a while until he's just routed. He was fighting Kolek and a bunch of other units there for ages. He hung on well, but it's not enough. I have been defeated by the dirty Chaos. So Dingo's bested me in this first one. My Chaos Marauders, I knew they weren't going to beat the Chaos Warriors, but I thought they'd do a little bit more than they did, I guess. My Marauder Hunters were shooting large mostly, and my Skin Wolves and Trolls are, I think, what I failed with. Dingo's Forsaken doing well, Cavalry doing well, fairly spread out in his kills. So let's take a look at that and see what I could have maybe done instead. I think my biggest mistake here was in two areas, and that was mostly on my flanking units. So I did know that I wouldn't win the fight. Chaos Marauders with great weapons were never going to beat Chaos Warriors. So I needed some support there. I should have brought my Trolls over. As soon as I saw his front line, I should have arranged these so that they could help out the front line and at least win a couple of these fights along the front line. And then my Skin Wolves should have been brought over this side, as there really wasn't much for them to do on the right other than to try and flank round, and they'd be much more used though trying to take out these Chaos Knights and Summoners of Rage. As they're anti-large and both of those units are large, that's the best matchup for them. So yeah, I think if I used my Trolls better to help out killing the infantry and used my anti-large better, I could have maybe taken that one. And now to the fourth battle of the 5 that I played against Dingo. I know what you're thinking, Zook, where the hell is round 2 and 3? Well, round 2 was Dark Elves versus Lizardmen. I was Dark Elves, so I pretty much ran him through with armor piercing pretty quick. So it wasn't a great battle to watch. And then the battle after that, the third battle, I was Bretonnia, he was Norska, and he pretty much ran me through with mostly just Norska infantry and numbers. So Dingo is 2-1 on me at the moment. This is our 4th game. I am the green skinned ones and he is the Beastmen. Now I've kind of got 2 front lines going on. I've got Orc Biggins, 4 units of those as one front line. And then just behind them I've got sort of another front line, which is Savage Orcs. Now depending on what his front line was, I was going to send out whichever front line was more appropriate. That was the plan anyway. And then old Grimgor is my lord, with a Goblin Big Boss on a spider to help protect him, and an Orc Shaman on a boar. On the flank I've got 2 units of cavalry, 1 normal Orc Boar Boys and 1 Biggin version. What else have I got? Doom Diver, something I don't bring too often as the Greenskins. I rarely bring artillery, but going with the Doom Diver in this one. They fly towards their Beastmen enemies. I kind of want to see if they land now. I do have some Mangy Marauders as well with the armor-piercing missiles to just distract and kind of be a little bit of a problem. I've also got an Arachnarok over there, and that I believe is most of my army. Let's see if we can get a sweet land with these Doom Divers. Firing in towards his infantry, I think. Yep, they're coming down. Gonna land on these Gore Herd. Looks like they're gonna land nicely. 1, 2, 3. Good hits. Not really doing a great deal of damage though. Barely anything. What a fucking waste of money. So I hit them with all 3 goblins there, but it didn't really do much. Maybe it's because they're so spread out, but goddamn. Now for Dingo's army, he's got 2 units of Centaurs coming up here first of all, which he had up on the hill over there. Now my plan with my Arachnarok, first of all, I was going to try and come around this hill and try and hide behind the hill, use the cover of the hill and get a little bit sneaky with my Arachnarok, but he had these Centaurs there, so I couldn't really pull that plan off. And these Centaurs are making a beeline for my artillery. He's going to try and get my artillery before my army gets there, but I do have some Biggins right there, which I'm going to try and put in the way, as well as my Goblin Big Boss. Now, Dingo's army, his front line is Gorehood with shields. So again, it looks like he's going to try and hold me in place, perhaps. And then he's got a couple of Ungor Raiders for some range power. Got the Butchers of Kolkengard. Some Minotaurs with shields. Malagor. And the Man Rippers, who are, of course, very powerful anti-large unit there. So that's most of his army. Apart from one vital ingredient. Oh, he's left his Gorball back in the deployment zone. Come on, Dingo. What a freaking clown sock. Who leaves their units behind in the deployment zone? The Centaur's coming after my artillery here. Now, I think this was a mistake, personally. I think it was not really worth 2 Centaur units just to try and damage my artillery. He would know that he's not going to be able to kill it in the kind of 5 seconds that he left them there. He did a bit of damage to it, but they've still got all 3 of their catapults, I think, so he didn't really take anything out. And that's the thing with artillery. You can damage it as much as you like, but even just a few gobos still alive on it will keep it going. Or not necessarily gobos, depends what the artillery is. But now his Centaurs are tied up and taking damage, so not so good. Front lines are engaged. I just kind of ploughed forward. I never really got to execute my plan of putting the correct front line forward, but oh well. I'm pulling my spider back here. Didn't want my Arachnarok to charge in just yet. I was going to bring it around this flank, but there's all those Centaurs in the way to tie it up. There's missiles there that can gun him down. The Man Rippers aren't far away. Minotaurs could turn around and come after it, so I'm keeping it out the fight for now, just playing it safe. Letting my infantry smash his infantry, because I know I've got the infantry advantage there. Greenskins, pretty good infantry killing power. Now, it may look like I've forgotten my cavalry back here, right? It may look like I've made the same mistake as Dingo, who's left his Gorball, making a mad rush to get back to the fight. So if you think I was that stupid to leave a couple of units behind, you'd be absolutely correct. I made the same mistake. I forgot my cavalry. But I do have my goblins coming in, my little goblin wolf riders, my mangy marauders. Going to try and tie up those spears. Starting to break his front line now, but he does have his Minotaurs in here. The problem for them, though, is that they're facing Orc Biggins. You see, I've just pulled my Savage Orcs out of the fight there because I don't want them fighting the Minotaurs. Just going to let the Biggins try to take care of those. Got the Kalkengard boys there, and I've got some Savage Orcs coming round to deal with them. Going to try and hit them in the flank. And I've got my big boss getting after the other unit of missiles. Centaurs now stuck in a fight with Biggins. Not really where they want to be. They haven't really done much so far. They've just been kind of running around getting stuck on people. My mangy marauders, though, getting rid of these Ungor raiders. My big boss taking care of the other unit of missiles. Going to start bringing the spider in now. My cavalry's arrived, because that was their plan all along. I definitely wanted to bring them in late. I didn't leave them behind at all. Shut up. Grimgor's throwing down with Morgor, though. Who's going to win this one? Morgor does have regeneration, which does make him a bit tougher, but Grimgor's Grimgor, mate. You ain't taking down Grimgor. And he also has the help of all the big ones around him. So Grimgor is smashing Morgor at the moment. Gorball's finally arrived, but he's taken on a Goblin Big Boss and an Arachnarok, amongst other things, so not his best move. Centaur's getting a bit of hammer and anvil. I brought my cavalry in now, trying to get the anti-large ones on these Kalkengard boys. I'm going to drop a nice foot of Gork, kaboosh, all over those Man Rippers, and then I'm going to send the cavalry in while they're all divided, try and separate them and obliterate them. They've broken my Savage Orcs there. So these Minotaurs staying in combat with the Biggins, not a good move in my opinion. I think you definitely needed to bring those away from that. Needed to find a way to get something else into them. It was difficult because his infantry all broke and they didn't really have much to get in the way. But yeah, it's looking like I'm starting to overrun him now. Morgor taking a beating, trying to get away maybe? No. Just dropping a war on all this, I think. Cavalry still around. My big boss throwing down with the Gorball. No fear. He's not afraid of some... Oh, he's starting to get his ass beaten on, but it's fine. He's keeping that Gorball out the rest of the fight for now, and that's what's important. And while I said it looks like I was starting to win it, there is still a lot of yellow left. A lot of yellow flags knocking around. The Man Rippers there. Minotaurs, not in terrible condition. One of them, so, you know, he's still got the potential to take this. My units, of course, well, both of our units, we both have leadership problems. We're both not going to stick in the fight forever. Got my Boar Boys knocking around, but they're getting smashed by the Kalkengard. They're not going to last too long. So Dingo's starting to pull it back a bit now. Getting his Man Rippers onto some of my large, or trying to at least. Got a lot of infantry in the way. And we've just managed to rout Morgor. So we've got to try and kill him, or get him off the field at least, so he doesn't come back. That should put the nail in the coffin for this one. The mangy marauders still just gunning things down, causing problems. The green flag starting to outweigh the yellow ones now, but there's a big, massive beastmen coming. Dingo's making a beeline for my Arachnarok by the looks of it. Bringing everything in. Trying to hammer this Arachnarok, because that is one of the big problems for him this late in the game. But I think he's missed a trick here. You see all this infantry coming in. He's thrown all his infantry into this clump rather than turning to face these Savage Orcs that were coming at him. So that's going to let him get flanked basically, and is going to be a real trouble for his leadership. So He may have wanted to engage those charging Savage Orcs instead of ignoring them then, but probably wasn't going to make too much difference. I'm sending my cavalry to chase off Morgor to make sure he doesn't come back. The Kolken Guard still got a little bit of life about him, and the Gorball. We've still got a little bit of something left, but probably not enough, as there are a lot of greenskins. I'm going to chase Morgor off the field, and that's going to be it. A Pyrrhic victory in this one. Greenskins edge it over Beastmen. So let's have a look at that one. Mangy Marauders doing pretty well. 80 kills. That was probably a lot of Ungor Raiders though. Fairly spread out kills all through my army. 30 to 40 kills for everyone. Not a bad haul. Very good teamwork. A lot of Minotaur kills for Dingo. Ungor Herd underperforming. So tough fight for them, to be honest. They had to fight 2 units each. So a little bit of a tough one there for the Beastmen. But what could Dingo have done to potentially win that fight? Well, I think his first mistake was the Centaurs coming after my artillery. They were never going to take it out. They do a little bit of damage, but it really wasn't worth 2 units of Centaurs being that much at risk. He would have been better off bringing them around the back and just leaving them around here, giving me something to think about, giving me something to worry about, because I didn't have much back there to deal with them at that point in time. He would have just been able to outrun everything, so he could have kept them safe and used them a bit better. His front line was never going to hold against all this. He maybe would have been better off either holding his Ungor Herd back, because his Minotaurs are coming in now, but they're only just coming in, so they're coming in quite late. They're not even at the fight yet. If they'd come in around the same time as the Ungors, they could have flanked round and got into the back of me. That probably would have broken my units pretty quick and would have given his Ungor Herd a lot better chance of actually doing something. Because they were going to get killed off quickly, because they were being 2-on-1, they really needed some help to hold for longer. And then another big thing, as I mentioned, leaving the Minotaurs fighting big uns probably wasn't the best move, because they are anti-large, those big uns. Minotaurs are going to feel their punches or stabs. These Man Rippers could have been a good choice for holding that line a bit better, then maybe trying to flank around with those Minotaurs. They would have been able to get more done. These Centaurs just getting stuck on units over here, so not really doing much. They could be getting around getting some hammer and anvil in the back of some of my units, which would hurt them a lot, because obviously leadership is not something we have a lot of as the Greenskins. So these hammer and anvils from Centaurs would do plenty of damage and maybe help get rid of some of these Savage Orcs off the field. But yeah, there's some ideas, some things Dingo maybe could have done, which would have given him a chance to win this fight. But we're now 2 each, me versus Dingo, 2-2. So we shall move to our final battle, which is the Skaven versus the Tomb Kings. Tretch is leading my Skaven into battle with Grand Hierophant Hatep for Dingo. So this has come down to being kind of the final of a best of 5. It wasn't really intended that way. We were just trying to get a decent battle for this video. But it's turned into 2 wins each, and this is the final one. So I was trying out this plan as a way to deal with Tomb Kings. So I've got 5 units of Clan Rats with spears, no shields, just to try and tie up their front line. And as single large units are a big problem against the Tomb Kings, I've got 2 units of Poison Wind Globadiers, which I'm protecting with a Hell Pit Abomination each. So if one single large unit comes along and tries to take these boys out, they'll have a Hell Pit to deal with for both sides. And then I've got some Halberd Storm Vermin in the middle as well to try and protect them even more against any of those constructs that may try and come after my precious Poison Winds, as I believe them to be the key to beating the Tomb Kings. I've got Tretch Craventail as my lord, as he is anti-large, going to be just that little bit more useful, and an assassin to help protect him because he is a bit vulnerable, not being able to be on a mount. Got some Skaven Slaves out wide, and then 3 units of Rat Ogres all on one side to try and get on a heavy flank with. So my plan is fairly simple. I'm going to try and hold him in place. So we'll hold him here, hopefully. And then my Rat Ogres are all going to come around the side and cause problems here, whilst my Poison Wind Globadiers can try and bomb all of these constructs and be protected by the Hell Pit Abominations. That's the idea I've got in my head for this build. That's how I want to use it. But of course, being Total War, nothing ever goes to plan. Now Dingo's army is a front line of 5 units of Skeleton Spearmen. Looks like he's going to try and hold the line as well. Kemrian War Sphinx and a Necrosphinx back there. Grand Hierophant Katep is on his Casket of Souls, so he's got some artillery power there. The Bony Bearded Twerp. And then he's got some Ushabti Great Bows, just 1 unit there. Some normal Ushabti, who are protecting, seemingly protecting, these Skeleton Archers. So he's gone for a little bit of ranged, a little bit of construct power, a little bit of everything of the Tomb Kings and what they offer. But I'm going to roll up on him. He's going to start firing away at me. He's obviously going to sit back and take advantage of his ranged advantage. Of course, with that Casket of Souls. So yeah, I've gone with the Poison Wind Globadiers as my best hope of taking down any Tomb King's constructs. Normally, everyone seems to go for Halberds, thinking that they're the best choice to try and deal with Tomb King's constructs, but I just think they can't hold on to them. They can't hold on to a Kemrian War Sphinx, and so they can't really do any damage, thus, what use are they? Poison Wind Globos, provided you can protect them, can just dish out non-stop power, no matter how fast they are, no matter where they're running. If they're in range, they're getting bombed. So here, I was trying to send my Hellpit through. I didn't just want to sit there taking the missile fire, so I thought I'd bring my Hellpits up. Got some Skaven Slaves I can bring around the flank to try and disrupt those missiles. Engaging now, front lines coming in. Spears, just going to run into their spears. Brought my Rat Ogres out on the flank. Now, I brought them out maybe, well, definitely far too wide. I was obviously trying to avoid the missiles a little bit, but this is one mistake I think people make, including myself, is that you bring your flanking force out too wide and it takes too long. I could have done this as a flank, and it would have been a much shorter journey than all this that I've done. So I should have brought my flanking force in a little bit tighter to the enemy formation and to my formation and get round there. I was trying to avoid the missiles at first, but it didn't really make too much difference, so I would have been better off coming in sooner. Hellpit coming in, disrupting those missiles, going to allow those Rat Ogres to come in. Starting to focus fire down this Kemrian. He's taking a fair bit of damage already. He's going to get into one of my Poison Wind Globos. Going to send over everything to try and help though. Got the Halberds coming in, got the Assassin coming in, and he's still being bombed by one of those other Poison Wind Globos. See the damage on this Kemrian, it's racking up fairly quickly. He doesn't want to be here too long. He's starting to waver already. Looking good that we're going to take him down nice and quick. Dingo perhaps forgetting to micro him to get him out of there, because I'm pretty sure he wouldn't have left him there if he'd seen this happening. He has managed to rout off my Halberds though, which is probably mostly that Casket of Souls. Bit of a mad fracas going on over here. I've got my two Hellpits trying to take on that Necro Sphinx. There's some archers in here, great bows, my Rat Ogres are all in here. So I was kind of trying to make a play to get this thing dead as quick as possible, because it is very powerful, and I've got two anti-large Hellpits there, which should do, well, you'd think would do well against it, but they seem to take a while. Flanking round fine here, just holding this line with all my Clan Rats. He tried to drop a spell here. I did move out the way of it just in time, but it does go forward, lucky for him, and goes straight through the middle of me. But we're still bombing away at that Kemrian. As for the Necro Sphinx back here, it's starting to do a little bit of damage to it, but not a great deal. I've definitely clumped up a bit too much here. I've got 3 units of Rat Ogres in here fighting. I probably should have taken one out and sent them somewhere else to try and deal with those great bows right next to us perhaps, because there's really no need for all 3 of those units to be there. Just 2 of them could have helped out enough, so I should have brought one of those out. Could have even done some hammer and anvil on these spearmen, which would have helped my front line, although they're doing okay against those spearmen. Halberds have run away, but my Poison Wind Globos are free now. Nothing trying to kill them, so they can just come in and try to help out the front lines. I've decided to pull these Rat Ogres out now. I have tried to pull them out, and they are going to come around and start to get after those great bows. Break in here a little bit. Some of my infantry failing me. These Skaven Slaves probably not going to hold on too long, but they're distracting things right now, and that's all we need. I have one in this section of the front line, so that's good. We've got a little hole we can work through. I haven't noticed it yet, but that's what I'm going for. Trying to get Hierophant Hetep dead as well. Getting the Poison Wind Globos firing on him. Still having trouble with this damn Necro Sphinx. He is the Regiment of Renown one, of course. He's very tough. But we have got him wavering now. Got the Poison Wind Globos on him. Going to start to wear him down a bit more. These boys, honestly, for the Skaven, what the fuck is going on with the camera? Camera was just bugging out like a crazy bastard. Poison Wind Globadiers, I think probably the best unit for the Skaven that can deal with constructs. I thoroughly recommend them above anything else. Hellpits should be good too, but Halberds just too easy to get away from, I think. Now I'm trying to get after his Lord here with one of my Hellpits. My Hellpits have taken a fair pounding. They're both down lower than half health. One of them is nearly dead. There's a bit of a conga line going here. I'm trying to get the Lord. The Necro Sphinx is trying to get the Hellpit. That other Hellpit's trying to get the Necro Sphinx. Rat Ogre's there as well. So a little bit of a conga line going on. Somebody's going to die. But he's ignoring one of my Hellpits and getting hit by it from his Necro Sphinx. One of my Hellpits is breaking, but he doesn't have much left. His Spearmen are failing him. A lot of his missile units have been taken down. And this Necro Sphinx is going down. Trying to pour everything into it. Looks like he's going to kill one of my Hellpits. Can we get him? We got him. Oh, Grand Hierophant went down as well. My Hellpit managed to survive, but he has routed. And that is enough for the Tomb Kings. He managed to, just in the nick of time, spawn up his free unit of Ushabti. But I think it's a little too late. They seem to be unbreakable because they don't seem to rout at all. But they're going to try and do what damage they can, but there's nothing else left. The rest of the army is disintegrated away. And now I'm just going to charge everything into these Ushabti. But they're not going to rout. They're still going to go. Tough bastards. I guess maybe they're unbreakable, those spawnable ones. But there we go. I've taken the victory this day in our little impromptu best of 5. Let's have a look how we did his large units. Necrosphinx was fighting Hellpits, so he wasn't going to get many kills, but that Khemria needed to bounce around more to get some kills. The archers couldn't get a lot done because we had them pretty well distracted. So difficult to get kills. One of the Ushabti did really well. That was probably smashing Skaven slaves and things though. One of them did nothing somehow. Maybe that was the one fighting rat ogres. No one really standing out for me. Or Hellpit Abomination did alright, but everything else was kind of low in the kills. So not really sure how we won, but we did it. So let's take a look at what Dingo could have done to maybe have turned that around for him. So the first thing I would have done if I was in his shoes is I wouldn't have targeted the halberds with the artillery and the missiles. I would have gone after the poison wind globos. Like I said earlier, I think they're far more dangerous to those constructs and things. Halberds, as I mentioned, simply can't hold on to anything well enough. If a Khemrian stays in a fight with them long enough, they'll fuck it up for sure. But most people aren't going to leave their Khemrian fighting those halberds, but they don't have much choice if the poison winds are firing at them. And I know it can be risky because the poison winds may get attacked, but this is why you position them apart, so if one is getting attacked, the other one can shoot at that thing that's attacking them, construct ideally, and vice versa. So they can kind of protect each other, which is exactly what I did when that Khemrian came in and started attacking them. So while he was trying to kill one of them, he was constantly taking damage from the other one. So target wise, I would have gone after the 2 poison wind units with the great bows and the caskets, and eventually the missiles when they came in range. Although I think he's aiming at the Hellpit Abomination. He's starting to whittle down that, so that's probably a good target as well, to have the great bows on that. So maybe just the casket firing at some globos, and then the great bows trying to take out the Hellpits. But either way, those are the biggest threats. It's just the Hellpits and the poison winds. Everything else in that army is not really a big worry. Because his biggest power is in those 2 large constructs, he needs to protect those. And the best way to do that is to take out the only things that really threaten those, which is the poison winds and of course the Hellpits. But mostly the poison winds, in my opinion. He didn't really have much in his back line to protect against any flanking Skaven units. He had only large units back there. The Ushabti, a good unit, good at fighting infantry. And he had the spearmen to deal with all these rat ogres, but they weren't positioned in a way to really help apart from one, and they kind of got tied up by the infantry, so needed to bring something over there to try and take out the rat ogres. Maybe the large units should have done that. But there you go. Many choices, many different things we could have done. He's taken down the halberds well enough with the casket of souls, but they're mostly just sat back there chilling, so there you go. Anyway, I'm rambling on. Thanks for watching. I hope you've enjoyed this. I thank Dingo for the games. Thanks for playing, my friend. I'll be doing more of these, hopefully against people from the Discord, so if you want to play, keep your eye out. I may be coming to bother you for a few games. Not necessarily going to be a best of 5, just trying to get a few good games to show. With me and Dingo, it just happened to go to a nice 5 where we had some good games. Thanks for watching. I hope you've enjoyed this. See you in the future.